Hello! It's a beautiful day here in Sheffield and I have read a Doctor Who book. Hurrah! And it is this one. I will turn it round so you can best see it for the thumbnail, for the lols. Yes, I've just read Doctor Who Icons One Night Only, a Fela Kuti story by Tade Thompson. So listen, it's been a while since I've read a Doctor Who book and I need something short because I've got yet another reading mission to do. And I absolutely love these icon stories. It's the second one I've read. First one was a Silurian one. And I think they feel like as close to what Target books used to feel like before we got into this stage there where Target books have become quite self-knowing and self-referential, which I'm perfectly cool with. I thought that's an appropriate thing. But for just slightly less than 100 pages, romp is too wrong a word, but just a thrilling adventure in time and space. I think these are an absolute winner, and I can't wait to read the Fela Kuti, Frida Kahlo and the Shirley Jackson one. Although I've never read any Shirley Jackson, so I'll probably have to do that before I read that one. Anyway, Tade Thompson's written this. Now, I knew nothing about Tade Thompson, and I don't know very much about Tade Thompson now, but it transpires that Tade Thompson is a pretty well-renowned science fiction writer. He's also a doctor, which is awesome. His list of credits on his Wikipedia page is substantive and impressive. This doesn't get a mention, though, sadly, so somebody, can you sort that out, please? But the guy seems like a good guy, and he seems to know about the power of words and the power of stories. And one gets a feeling from this book that he knows about the power of music as well, because the icon that he's chosen to write about is Fela Kuti. Now, I'm no expert, please don't think I am. Afrobeats, just one of many types of music that I will dabble in now and again. But there's no doubt that Fela Kuti is one of those artists that I come back to now and, you know, with some regularity. His album on Spotify, Best of the Black President, something like that, is the best of. But nonetheless, for those who don't know, he's a pioneer of African jazz, funk, exceptionally charismatic, very cool music. If you are looking for something different to listen to, and you're fortunate enough to subscribe to a streaming service, get on and listen to Fela Kuti because he's great, and you will get something out of it, and it's a glorious thing. What I find interesting about this book is, well, first of all, it's great, and it's great for a number of reasons. But the pairing of these two looks thrillingly weird. And I thought about why that's the case, and there's a couple of reasons. Just the optics. Let's be honest, there were not enough not white characters in Doctor Who during this period of its history. And indeed, to be fair, all the way up till, well, McCoy, really. I mean, things got better. But the simple fact is, if you were going to have a guest star coming into Doctor Who in this period of its history, it probably would not be a black actor. For crying out loud, as much as Doctor Who fans love the talent of Weng Chiang, and I'm one of them, you can't deny that the casting of Lee Sin Cheng is problematic, all right? But there we are. So then I pondered, well, is this a good match for the Fourth Doctor? Just in terms of the characters, just in terms of, and it is, because the timings work out. The Fourth Doctor's period that we associate him with in terms of Earth is, you know, the mid-70s running into the 80s. Fela was a big deal around that time. But also, of all the Doctor's regenerations up until in 2005, up until like New who is going to be most into jazz? Who's going to be most into African music? Well, it's not going to be Hartnell. Probably not going to be Troughton. You know, Pertwee would and then wander off. You know, I can see Davison liking it. I can't see Colin Baker. We know that McCoy likes jazz. We can see McGann liking jazz. But even though he wouldn't be up dancing and this, that and the other, you suspect that Tom would appreciate Fela Kuti. Obviously, by the time we get to Shooty and he's hanging out in Nigeria and having awesome adventures there, well, the Doctor's going to be lapping that up, isn't he? But that's by the by. This story is absolutely fantastic. I tried to explain to the kids on the way back from something we were doing yesterday what goes on in it. And so much goes on in less than 100 pages, all of which is banging. We start off with Sarah Jane with Amnesia, which is, you know, a cold open type vibe. And we get this fantastic sequence where we don't quite know what's going on, but we know that the Doctor's up to something, trying to work it out. And he keeps getting Sarah to write ridiculous letters to the Times. Absolutely great. We get the Brigadier, we get Harry, right? Love to see the Brigadier and Harry. They don't feature massively. Harry shines through, to be fair. But it's a unit type setup. We get a new character called Doreen, who I wish we'd see more of Doreen. I wish Doreen was a thing back in the day. You could have had Benton doing that, but no. Tade's decided to have somebody called Doreen, and she's proper cool. We get a brand new alien race, which I'm really, really here for. They really, really sang. And we just get this absolutely brilliant story in which Fela Kuti just weaves himself into the narrative, basically. And then, as you would expect, is a major part of the denouement at the end. And the contrast between, particularly the Brigadier and Fela, is really well drawn out. It's interesting, isn't it? Certainly from my parochial, white, boring, middle-class nonsense perspective. The idea... And you have to consciously remind yourself of these things sometimes as human beings. You have to. The idea that there was a world bigger than, and I'm talking in Doctor Who terms here, but go with me, you know, stuffy offices and white people with moustaches and talking about protocol and this, that and the other. And yet there were thrilling, exciting things happening in Africa and amazing things happening. Do you know what I mean? It just keeping the idea that the world is bigger than the picture that you had painted for you as you were growing up. Making sure you do that is a really valuable, I think, way of keeping yourself open. And so the idea that Fela and the Brigadier don't quite get on, but obviously we like both of them, whatever else like that. It's a really, really great story. But the real thing that I loved about this story, and this is... doesn't have anything to do with Fela Kuti. This is just Tade Thompson writing, clearly loving this era of Doctor Who and clearly understanding these characters. He's able to put the Doctor and Sarah's relationship through the ringer a little bit. And as a result, this most close-knit of teams, there are few Doctor companion teams that are closer than the Doctor and Sarah, let's be honest. It's just the tension creeps in. But it's done so beautifully well, just across 100 pages. Everything, of course, sort of reverts and resets at the end with an understanding. There's a beautiful bit at the end where the Doctor sort of makes references not very good in apologising. That's a really sort of, it's a very subtle and appropriate way of looking at Tom's Doctor, that. And also, he's very good at just little things. I mean, obviously, this guy loves Who and is a great writer because there are moments where he talks about the Doctor holding his mouth open. Now, I know that image of Tom. He holds his mouth open in a way that people don't tend to do. He also talks about him touching his nose. Now, Doctors touching their nose, to me, is always Pertwee because, of course, it's very hard to miss it. Sorry, John. Sorry, Mr. Pertwee. I have a story about Pertwee having a big nose. I'll tell you a different time. But yeah, Tom does do stuff like that. So genuinely, this is a beautifully observed book. And not only am I delighted that books I wish, oh my God, Doctor Who should be the biggest thing on TV at the minute. I think we've missed the boat with Shooty's era. It just, everything seemed to fall between the cracks now with the benefit of hindsight. Obviously, we've not talked about it in terms of the stories. But it should be the biggest thing on TV. And if it was the biggest thing on TV at the moment, this sort of book would be what I'd be using as a librarian to those kids that would just get into it and saying, oi, oi, not only are you going to get a whack of this guy, but you're going to learn about this awesome guy as well. What a flipping treat that is. You know what I mean? Few programmes can do this sort of thing, but Doctor Who can. Anyway, once again, I have been spoiled with a mighty, mighty Doctor Who story there. My next reading adventure begins soon, but I'll try and cram another Doctor Who book in at some time to talk to you about then. Hope all's well. Welcome to spring. Farewell, bye.